Every year we take a trip with our friends up north and we always visit Hartwick Pines old-growth forest. It's all the way up here in the northern part of the lower peninsula of Michigan. The park is dedicated to a small patch of old-growth forest that was spared from countrywide deforestation in the 1800s after colonization. They have a little logging museum where you can go and look at all the tools that they used to log. My husband is particularly interested in the big equipment that's in this building. There are paved trails that make this place accessible to everyone. Well, mostly accessible. There's always a bump in the road every now and then. They have a little pamphlet that you can check out at the visitor center to narrate as you walk through the forest, and it tells you all kinds of cool information and stuff about the forest and why it was preserved and how its ecological aspects are different from other forests that you might see. So please enjoy my narration of this pamphlet as you behold my best attempt at a nature documentary. Checkpoint 1. Northern Hardwood Forest. This forest began to grow after the Salling-Hanson Logging Company ceased harvesting operations in this area in 1893. That harvest essentially removed the pine component of the forest community and converted it to the northern hardwood type. The large stumps of ancient white pines can still be seen on the forest floor. This forest, like most secondary growth hardwood forests in northern Michigan, is more than 100 years old. Unlike the old growth forest you will soon be entering, this forest has some regeneration where sunlight has broken through the upper canopy and has reached the forest floor. Tree species common to this forest type are the American beech and a variety of maple trees, sugar, red, and mountain maples. Checkpoint number 2, wildlife in the hardwood forest. This type of forest provides good habitat for a variety of wildlife, including red squirrels, eastern gray squirrels and porcupines, and numerous species of wood warblers. The small mammals eat the abundance of seeds from American beech, beechnut, and samaras, or helicopter seeds, from the maples. Dead trees provide insects to warblers and woodpeckers. Shelter is found by building nests in the live or dead trees, also called snags, and escape cover exists in the form of regenerated trees and dead and downed logs. Checkpoint 3, changes. As you head toward the old-growth forest, notice how the scenery changes. The hemlocks and pines are starting to dominate the forest. Their shade results in a lack of seedling regeneration. Large logs can be seen on the ground. The eastern hemlocks in this forest are a rare sight. In the northern lower peninsula, hemlocks generally are found growing in hardwood forests, but here at Hartwick Pines, they grow alongside the white and red pines. Checkpoint number 5, soil compaction. The thousands of people who have hugged this tree might not have realized the impact they were having on the tree's root system. The root systems of the trees in the old-growth forest are fairly shallow or near the surface. Checkpoint number 6, the monarch. This is the most famous tree at Hartwick Pines. Unfortunately, the monarch lost its live crown in a windstorm in 1992. It died 4 years later. Before the storm, the monarch stood 155 feet tall with a circumference of 12 feet. It was about 325 years old when it died. We don't know when the rest of the monarch will come tumbling down. It could be today, next week, or years from now. Checkpoint 7, serenity. You are now in the heart of the old-growth forest. Most of the trees around you are between 300 and 400 years old. The ecosystem of this old-growth forest, dominated by eastern white pines, red pines, and eastern hemlocks, is rare indeed, for there are not too many areas in the eastern United States where trees of this age can be found. Typical of an old-growth forest is the shady understory. Most tree regeneration occurs where the death of one or more of the canopy trees has allowed an increase of sunlight, moisture, and nutrients to reach the forest floor. Another distinguishing feature of an old-growth forest is the large woody debris, logs and branches, scattered on the forest floor. Like humans, trees have a lifespan, and when they die, they eventually fall back to earth, replenishing the soil with nutrients. Finally, and most obvious, The age, size, and the spaces between the trees tells us that this is an old-growth forest. Checkpoint number 9, an old-growth forest of the future. As you continue to walk along the trail, to your left is old growth. Notice the trees to your right are a bit younger. This young forest has regenerated on its own, starting around 1950. Notice how the regeneration here is evenly distributed, unlike what you'd observe in the old-growth forest. The age of the trees and their thin crowns allow sunlight to penetrate the upper canopy and to feed the young seedlings. For safety, managers have taken fire out of the equation. If fires are allowed to burn, most of the hardwood saplings would perish. Checkpoint 11, snags. Trees that die and remain standing, called snags, are an important part of any forest, especially an old-growth forest. Oddly enough, dead trees can be an indication that a forest is healthy. Once a tree dies, wood-eating insects and various forms of rot and fungi help to break it down. As a snag, trees, such as the dead one in the distance, continue to provide birds and mammals with food and shelter. A year-round resident of Hartwick Pines is the pileated woodpecker, Michigan's largest woodpecker. This crow-sized bird requires large-diameter dead trees to excavate its nesting cavity. Checkpoint 12, mixed forest. You are on the edge of the old-growth forest. In front of you is a young forest, approximately 120 years old, with hardwoods and conifers, hence the name mixed forest. You can see a few large white pines and red pines growing among the various maple trees and beech trees. There are also oaks and birch trees growing in this forest. If you look closely, you will see dozens of young white pine seedlings growing in the understory. It is quite possible that during its fetal stages several hundred years ago, the old-growth forest might have looked something like this. Because of an abundance of roots and seeds, a variety of plant-eating mammals live in or near this forest. That means predator species, such as the owl, fox, and bobcat, will frequent this forest as well. I love coming to Hartwick Pines every year, not just because it's beautiful and accessible, but I love the chance that we get to reflect. Standing in an old-growth forest really is a unique and surreal experience, and I get emotional every time we go there, thinking about the impacts that we have on the world as people. If you're ever in northern Michigan, I highly suggest that you stop off at Hartwick Pines Old-Growth Forest to experience the magic for yourself.